Another conservative has crossed the floor, betraying those that supported him, betraying those that voted for him, betraying the Conservative Party, and betraying Canada. Welcome to the Canadian Shield. My name is Sterling. Well, you didn't hear me. You didn't mishear me. Another conservative has crossed the floor, this one from Toronto. And in the riding where there was a very tight race, it was 3%, just like the other guy who walked across the floor. I don't know why people sometimes get so weak and can't stick to their guns. Giving the Liberal majority, the Liberal Party a majority, will not improve our standard of living. And if this guy thinks that it does, then he would call for an election and run as a Liberal. But it's not going to improve our standard of living. It has nothing up to now has improved our standard of living, guys. So why would this time be different? That's all. I want you to ask yourself that question. Why would all of a sudden it be different? This individual who betrayed all of the people that supported him, plus all of the people that elected for him, that nobody ever heard of, is taking his 5 minutes of fame. And I'll show you how he went last night to the Conservative Christmas party. And then waited for the House of Commons to close for the winter, for the winter, and then made the decision to make the announcement. A more cowardly individual you couldn't find. I mean, not only did he go to the Christmas party and probably take the Conservative bag, but he waited until he was already hidden away from the House of Commons before he made the announcement, and then immediately closed off his Twitter. Coward's the only word that fits. I mean, there's other words, but in my mind, this behavior is not a man who's speaking from conviction. This is a guy who's running from something. His name is Michael Mah. He's an Ontario MP. Ontario MP Michael Mah announced Thursday that he's leaving the Conservative caucus and joining the Liberal caucus. The MP said in a statement that he made the decision after listening to his constituents in the riding of Markham-Unionville of the Greater Toronto Area. I don't believe that for 1 second. I don't believe anybody in his riding is telling him that he needs to all of a sudden become a Liberal. Who does that? They wouldn't have voted for you to tell you that you need to switch parties, especially when they would see the amount of rent and the cost of living in Markham. And I know that he didn't do it for that because of his statement. And I quote, "This is a time for unity and decisive action for Canada's future," close quote, he wrote. Quote, "In that spirit, I have concluded that Prime Minister Mark Carney is offering the steady, practical approach we need to deliver on the priorities I hear every day while door knocking in Markham-Unionville," close quote, like anybody door knocks in the middle of the winter after they already have the election. This is a fourth bench MP. He has nothing. Nobody knows who he is. He's not door knocking. He's taking the money and running. He might be succumbing to some foreign influence. He might be, this might have been one of the weak chink in the armor. But he's not doing it for me and you. And he definitely doesn't. There's no way that this statement wasn't written by anybody but a Liberal. Here's a clip of him talking in the House of Commons. I picked this up from Canada Proud.
Unionville.
Mr. Speaker, every dollar the Prime Minister spends comes out of the pockets of Canadians through higher prices and through food inflation. Monthly visits to food banks have doubled since 2019, with 2.2 million visits per month. Nearly 10% of food bank users are now seniors. This is up 22%. This reliance on food banks has to become an ongoing necessity to survive. Mr. Speaker, when will the Liberals realize that their inflationary deficits are driving up the cost of food and driving Canadians to the food bank?
Well, the National Post ran a tweet on it as well, and underneath it, there's a couple of pretty good burns. We can see the Chinese flag superimposed where Canada should be on the North American continent, which of course the Americans wouldn't permit, even though Mark Carney is very deep with the Chinese. And then we can see that Maurice put a picture of Mark Carney's slogan on top of the Chinese premier. I'll tell you what's really amazing is that he has here Michael Mah, CPC, and he joined in 2019. This is his Twitter feed. These posts are protected, so he locked it up tight. So not only did he wait for after the House to close, and did he go to the Christmas party last night with the Conservative Party, but then he silenced his entire feed. Unfortunately for him, silencing your feed is illegal when you're an MP. You're not allowed to do that, thanks to Rebel News taking the Liberal government to court. By blocking off your feed, you are in fact blocking off people from understanding the parliamentary process. Of course, he has 287 followers, which is not a very big following because nobody's ever heard of him. And I think that he's just searching for 5 minutes of fame, or he might be doing something, for on the down low. Everybody's aware that the Liberal Party is not afraid to do the corruption. I mean, we've seen scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal. What I want to know is, who are the people that keep electing these guys? Because they are destroying your life and you support them for it. It makes no sense to me. It shouldn't make any sense to you either. And here he is, not 24 hours before this betrayal, standing beside Pierre Poilievre and his wife with a big smile on his face at the Christmas party. You can see that it looks like he has at least his wife with him. I don't know who the other people are. Maybe they're family members. Maybe they are also supporters of staff members. I don't know. I know that to stand there knowing that the very next day you're going to be crossing the floor is how do these people want to consider themselves to be honorable when this is the way that they behave? And how is it that you want to tell yourself that this is the person you should support? This is the person who's supposed to be leading your region of the country, who stands this close. I mean, you're right there. You just, after this picture, you probably shook his hand, said Merry Christmas and all kinds of stuff. Then you wait for the whole day to go by. You wait until all the dust is settled, and then you make the announcement, turn your Twitter off, and go hide in your apartment or your house or whatever it happens to be. What kind of human being tells himself that he's a leader and this is the way that he acts? I don't see it as being anything other than cowardly, but you can let me know what you think down in the comments. We'll end with Pierre Poilievre's statement. Michael Mall was elected as a Conservative by the constituents of Markham Unionville to fight against liberal inflationary spending driving up the cost of living in his community. Today he chose to endorse the very policies he was elected to oppose, the same policies driving up food prices and making life more expensive for all. And that's all true. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing in that isn't true. So anybody who tries to convince you otherwise is simply either brainwashed or trying to brainwash you. The people he let down the most are the ones who elected him to fight for an affordable future. He will have to answer to them. This practice needs to be stopped. None of this constituency voted for Liberals. They should be forced into a by-election. He absolutely should be forced into a by-election. And just like the entrepot that crossed the floor, d'Entremont that crossed the floor, nobody will hear about this guy in 5 minutes. But I guess he wants his 2 minutes of fame. And here's Drew saying, along with many friends and family, voted for Ma because he was our Conservative candidate. Many were brought out and waited in lines so we could have change in our area. We didn't vote for the Liberal Party. An absolute disgrace. There should be a by-election, as this isn't democracy. We have to remember he didn't betray just the people of his region. He betrayed all of Canada. He looked Canada right in the face and said, let me become part of the Conservative Party and I won't let you down. And then immediately stabbed us in the back. There's nothing about the Mark Carney policies that are unifying. There's nothing about the Mark Carney policies that are even progressive. Like, explain to me, just show me one place where anything that the Liberal Party has done in the last 11 years, that has accomplished what they said it was going to do, instead of always just another string of ridiculous excuses. Nothing they say they're going to do ever happens. Anybody who thinks that they are going to get rich with the Liberal government is the people that we have to be talking about. It's the upper class elite that think that we can all be turned into cattle, or turned in just like the Matrix turned into, instead of it being a battery like on the Matrix, it's just into a dollar sign. They're just leeching off of our hard work and off the sweat of our brow, off the ingenuity and the creativity that they will take from us and not give us credit for. It's not a secret that the Liberal government is falling apart and tearing at each other. So why is this guy all of a sudden deciding this is the time? It doesn't make any sense. all the theater is what I can tell you doesn't add up. Like I've said already, the timing when he decided to leave, when there won't be cameras on him for 2 or 6 weeks. Now he can hide wherever. He'll take a vacation, leave the country, whatever it happens to be. Of course, that indicates that we just got to think about who else the Liberal government is trying to pry out of our Conservative Party. Who else is going to be too weak of character to stand by their convictions, or who never had the convictions in the first place, who think that political party is like changing your socks and they all think alike. That doesn't add up. That doesn't make sense. The Conservatives want all of us to have a better middle-class lifestyle, and Mark Carney's government thinks that we exist to serve him. Private jets, flying all over the country, living in mansions while you and I are supposed to rollerblade in the dead of winter, promising pipelines, saying there's going to be fast change, and then saying all you got to do to get this fast change is go onto a list and we might let you know within 2 years, faster than ever since the beginning of the Second World. Come on, man. All I'm asking you to do is take the words that come out of Mark Carney's mouth and look at the results and just tell me where they match. Because I look at this fairly extensively, and I'd like to believe I'm a quasi-intelligent individual, which is to say, if you show me where there is a connection, I will be able to see it. If you simply point to where Mark Carney's words or the Liberal government's words are not followed up with a bunch of excuses, where they can just say, this is what we said we're going to do, and here's the results of it. Here's us doing it. Just show me one. Because all I see is Mark Carney making Brookfield rich. I see Mark Carney trying to destroy free enterprise in Canada. And Liberals tell themselves that it's all about something that it isn't, so that they can try to convince themselves that they don't have to worry about working for it. I guess they just want the Liberal government to come in and throw checks at them. And I would encourage all of you to read a book that has anything to do with socialism. Please look around the world and show me one socialist government that has any money. Just one. Again, just one. And I ask you to show me these things because there isn't any. There's no socialist government that can turn a profit. And there is nothing that Mark Carney claimed he was going to do that has actually happened. And anybody who's crossing the floor, anybody who thinks in their mind that what I just said doesn't add up, is incorrect. That's just my opinion. You can let me know what your opinion is down in the comments. I'm going to wrap here. Thank you for listening.